Hi there everyone, welcome to Dandelion Delphi Tutorials. We are continuing in the books program and we have completed the class. It is a good time to run your program to see that you don't have any syntax errors. Once you have done that, you can copy out right at the top the name of the class and then go to your main form and paste it anywhere inside of your uses. This is usually done for you, but you do need to know how to do it. Now we will declare the object book as the type tbooks. If you remember, tbooks come from my class. We declared the type there as tbooks. And again, this is usually given, but you do need to know how to do that. Now we will go to the question to see what is asked. You will need to create this interface. So if you are doing this program, you might want to pause and quickly add these labeled edits and a checkbox and a button and a rich edit. I usually put the default values here inside of my text property of the labeled edit, so it speeds up the running of my program. The first thing that you would like to do in your button, obviously you need to read the question, but in this case, in our button, we want to store the input from the user. So we're getting the input from all the objects and storing it as the correct data type. Then we will be asked to instantiate the object. And this line of code is extremely important, and I'm going to give you a little trick on how to produce this line of code without any errors. If you make an error in this line of code, you will have question 3 without any output because it will not run. We have declared the object book here with the data type tbook, so I want you to go back up there, highlight it and copy it. And then after you have received the input from the user, you will paste this line of code and change the colon sign so that it's now an assignment statement by adding the equal sign to it. After books, you press .create and you open the round brackets. If everything above this line of code is correct, you will have some hints indicating to you what arguments you need for this create constructor. And you will see that it says we need a title, an ISBN, a cost price, and an ebook. This is important because we need to match the arguments that we're going to type here, which is our local variables, in NOD. So NOD stands for number, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters, so I need 4 arguments. The O in NOD stands for order, so I need to send the title first, then the ISBN, then the cost price, then whether it's available as an ebook or not. And then the last D for NOD stands for data type, and I need to make sure that I send them in the right data type. So my arguments need to be 2 strings, 1 real, and then 1 boolean. Once I have completed this line of code, it will look like this. And this code will use tbooks, and this is the last time you will use tbooks. From now on, you will only use your object called book. And without running this line of code, nothing else will work. So our next part of the question asks us to set the selling price. And selling price was a procedure that we created in our class in the previous activity. And we will use book, the object, dot, and then the method. So selling price is a procedure, therefore it stands on its own. It does not form part of any other line of code. Selling price needed a parameter, and we're going to send it the percentage that we stored from the user. The next part of the question is asking us to display the information from the class that we have created in a toString in our rich edit. So the toString is a function, therefore it needs to be part of another statement. And in this case, this toString is called in a rich edit. ToStrings are usually called in rich edits labels or show messages. And we'll add richedit.nice.add like we usually do, book.toString. And that will produce for us the output of our toString, which contains the fields of our class. The next part of the question asked us to display the selling price of this book in the caption of the labeled edit. So for this we need to go editing number, that's our labeled edit. We want to edit the label's caption, and there is some hard code that we need to add, and then we will add the function get selling price. We are going to display this as a RAND currency, so we will add FF currency and comma 10 comma 2. So important that you always use float string F. Once you have created this code, it would be a good idea just to test this button. So I have entered these values already, and I click on the display button, and here is my toString, and it's displaying to me that the title of the book is The Best Book Ever, and the ISBN number. And remember, in the constructor we set the number of books sold to 0. So currently my cost price is 120, my selling price is 198, but because I haven't sold any books, my profit would be 0. I have not checked the checkbox available as ebook, so therefore it's displaying it's a hard copy book. The last part of this question is asking me to do some calculations in the button called Add Books Sold. And in this button, what we're going to do is we're going to store the input from the user from an edit box of how many books are sold. I now need to change the number of books sold. So this is my mutator method that I'm calling. It was a procedure, so I am adding books sold. It needed a parameter, and I'm using the books that the person entered to increase the number of books sold by this value. Then I want to redisplay my toString to show the new number of books sold as well as my new value for my profit. So I have cleared the rich edit so that I don't see the previous output of the toString, and now I'm going to display the number of books sold as well as the new profit. I now want to test my button called Add Books Sold. So I've entered that I've sold 10 books, and I'm clicking on the button called Add Books Sold. If I click on it now, I'm going to get an error, and this error says access violation. The reason why I'm getting this error is because I have not yet clicked on the display which contains the code for the constructor create. Before I can use any other method in my program, I have to first create this object in the RAM. So by clicking on display, I'm displaying the initial book sold, which is 0. This is calling my constructor create, and now I'm able to click on the button called Add Book Sold, and this is showing me the updated number of books sold, and also now I'm making a profit on the books sold. I hope this helped you. Please leave some comments if there's anything else you would like to learn about OOP. And I think next you should watch the videos on the final of 2018 question 3 to see how this is asked in a final exam. Hope to see you soon.